Who doesn't love a good mutant ship? I know I personally do. There are plenty of mutants in the Marvel Universe, and that means there's a lot of different options when it comes to romantic choices. So today we are counting down a certain type of mutant ship. Weird ships. The ones we don't necessarily like. The ones that we read and we're kinda like, ew, that has made me uncomfortable. Our list of the top 10 weirdest mutant ships. Now this time around with this shipping list, we've tried to stick to ships that have yet to sail. And perhaps never will. As well as ships for characters who once played tonsil hockey together and probably should never ever do that again. So with that in mind, let's get to our list. Starting us off in at number 10, Rogue and Magneto. Once upon a time, in the Age of Apocalypse timeline, Rogue and Magneto got hitched and it was super weird. This isn't just some rant against ageism here either, people. Think about this relationship for a second. Magneto was pretty darn cruel with Rogue during her time in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Generally, he has been a bit of a dick to her whenever they've interacted, and he always tried to exploit her powers, so it does feel weird for a character like Rogue to diminish herself so much to be with a dude who treats her like garbage. You're better than that, girl. Don't care how great his powers of magnetism are, you are above that shit. The two also had a brief flirtation in the 616 universe, but luckily that went nowhere. And at number 9, Mystique and Azazel. We're just working through all of the terribly mildly abusive relationships on this list apparently. Lucky Frank Pym, he's not a mutant. So, Mystique and the demon Azazel. Now back in the day, Mystique learned that her husband was infertile, so she sought out another way to conceive a child. This is when this big red demon man stepped up, seduced her, tricked her into thinking that he was sticking around, and then pulled a total move on her and ditched her after they hooked up. Now apparently Azazel has impregnated a lot of women this way, and he never has any intention of sticking around. But one good thing did come from it, Mystique had Nightcrawler, so yay. I mean, hey, her one true love is Destiny, so didn't think that ship would work out. And you probably shouldn't ship it either, cause like also he's very evil and ugh. Moving on to number 8, Jean Grey and Emma Frost. Now objectively speaking, this ship makes total sense. Look at them. Look at their powers. They would make such an amazing power couple. But they are also longtime rivals. They've got a lot of beef. Not only have they always been rivals from a power standpoint, Emma's strong, but Jean's just got that phoenix oomph, people. But they are also two very confident and domineering women in their respective fields. And they've both had romantic relationships, and occasionally slummed it, if you will, with Cyclops aka Scott Summers. Now Emma and Scott had a psychic affair that Jean walked in on, and oh boy, that was scandalous. But I guess maybe that's what makes the ship work so well. Their history is palpable, it's messy, it's basically the foundation for a steamy realization where the two of them go from hating each other to not being able to be around each other for other reasons, if you know what I mean. But still probably not a good idea. And at number 7, Psylocke and Fantomex. Back to that dysfunction. Psylocke and Fantomex's relationship was disastrous to begin with. Featured in the tonally darker Uncanny X-Force, the couple's romance began with a whole lot of manipulation. They constantly fought, which some critics have called writers out for in a sense that their domestic bickering was romanticized. Now Psylocke was also hooking up with a female incarnation of Fantomex's consciousness, Eva, so that complicates things more. And things just got really strained till it just blew up in their faces. I think this is a relationship most of us would rather just never revisit again. Returning to a hypothetical for this number, in at 6, the Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean throuple. Okay, so I am totally here for a Jean Scott Logan throuple. It would be so revolutionary, you guys. And yes, if it did happen, it probably wouldn't last, but come on. Come on, you gotta admit it, at least be incredibly compelling and entertaining. And it would be suggesting a more polyamorous approach to the relationships on Krakoa. So, to give you all some context on why this is a thing, after Dawn of X, in the first several issues of the X-Men stories after the relaunch of the series, we got to see a floor plan of the Summers residence. And Scott, Jean, and Wolverines are all right next to each other, with doors in between them. None of the other rooms have this, might I add. There have been several other subtle moments in which the three really seem to be bonding in a way that never really could have happened before thanks to the ceaseless rivalry between Logan and Scott that's endured for years, which was also primarily over Jean, and ideologies and other stuff too, but love is powerful guys. Anyway, there was another instance of bonding between Scott and Logan where the two seemingly teased each other and everyone kinda lost it, or rather the shippers shipping this pairing lost it. And in Powers of X issue 4, we got 10 sinister secrets, gossip gathered by Mr. Sinister, in which the 5th secret read, I quote, "He's the best there is at what he does. She's married with a kid. The husband knows exactly what's going on, but who is he to point the finger? He's up to much the same and more. Maybe this is just the new normal on the mutant island." Hello. So, will this be a thing? Is this something you guys want? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know your thoughts and feels. Moving on to number 5, Husk and Toad. Gross. Repulsive. Nasty. Yeah, these are words that people will often use to describe the relationship between Toad and Husk. Is that too harsh? I don't know, you guys tell me. So these two got together in Wolverine and the X-Men, and it was always a little bit unsettling. It's the Princess and the Frog thing. Get it? Aside from that, this relationship felt like it didn't really have much of a foundation. Sure, the two of them may have discovered a new sense of worth, which is great, but, you know, the relationship itself felt more like a plot point rather than a proper narrative. And neither really grew from it either. Some argue that it was more of a satirical romance, but we would have rather seen something to root for emerge here and make us more compelled by these two characters because of it. Instead, it was just kind of like, meh. So maybe it's not terrible to ship them after all, but on the condition that they have a better story this time around. Moving on to number 4, Angel and Husk. Girl, what are you doing? Husk is often seen as the stereotypical crazy girlfriend, and while that does kind of suck, it also pans out pretty commonly in her romantic narratives. Case in point, her and Angel. There was a story in Uncanny X-Men that ran between issue 437 and 441 called She Lies with Angel. Guess where this is going. It was supposed to be a play on Romeo and Juliet, which the storyline actually took its name from. And it kind of took a weird turn. Although Romeo and Juliet is pretty superficially romantic if we're being honest, but that is a debate for another day and a whole other channel. Anyway, it gets real angsty, the two have sex in the air in front of Husk's mother and other team members and family members, and there is just a whole lot of dysfunction in general. Up next, number 3, Kitty Pryde and Iceman. Once upon a time, Iceman Bobby Drake and Shadowcat Kitty Pryde, aka the X-Men team leader at the time, knocked nasties. Or probably just kissed like they were on a PG-13 Disney show. The relationship was pretty awkward. So why is this ship kinda weird to keep shipping? Well, it's because Bobby's gay, and the two of them basically had zero chemistry anyway and are way better suited as friends. Honestly, he was probably going through a hard time repressing his sexuality anyway during this relationship, which explains why these two kind of felt like soggy paper towels together. Just two soggy paper towels, just no bueno. And at number 2, Wolverine and Squirrel Girl. In New Avengers issue 7, Squirrel Girl, who has become the new nanny for Jessica Jones and Luke Cage's daughter, runs into Wolverine, who is on the team. Now it's implied that they had a relationship, with Logan aggressively saying, "I thought we agreed never to see each other again." So yeah, I guess it did not end well between them. On top of that, in Wolverine issue 8, when Emma Frost goes into Logan's mind, she sees his sexual fantasies, which include Squirrel Girl, and it feels really dirty. Which is probably because she's still technically a teenager and Logan is, I'm sorry, how old again? Like a century old? Some fans have even speculated that this is technically statutory rape. But you know what, let's just move on to our next number and just don't ship it. Don't ship it. And last but not least, in at number 1, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Technically, thanks to a retcon, these two are not considered mutants anymore, but rather human mutates. But back in the Ultimate Comics, they're both mutants, and they're also brother and sister, and they're twins, and that is incest. Because they hook up in the Ultimate Universe. So I think that kind of sums up pretty well why these two made the top spot of our list. Twincest, revealed in Ultimates issue 3. It freaks Captain America out too, who Wasp then has to break it down to that they're in love with each other and are a couple, and it's just a whole awkward panel. Alright, there we have it, friends. What other weird mutant ships do you think should not be shipped, or should be shipped? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know your thoughts and feels. If you dug this video, you guys know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button, share it with a friend, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more videos just like this. In the meantime, thanks for watching, friends. I'll catch you all in the next one.